जी सर नमस्कार. Myself Anand Bharadwaj. I am working as a construction assistant engineer in Delhi Jal Board. Simultaneously, I am General Secretary of Vanavasi Kalyanashram Delhi Unit. Vanavasi Kalyanashram generally work in the tribal area of India for the welfare of all the tribals, but just we say Vanavasi. Vanavasi Kalyanashram is running about 21,000 Seva projects in 14,000 villages in the Indian tribals area. So Vanavasi Kalyanashram just not doing the Seva Prakalp, but we are working as a feeling between Vanavasi, Nagarvasi, Gramvasi, just we call it to my ek Rakt. So Vanavasi Kalyanashram in all state, particularly where Vanvasis lives and does not live, just like in Haryana, Punjab and Delhi. So we are spearheading the awareness work between Nagarvasi, Gramvasi and Vanvasi. Just we are the son and daughters of Bharat Mata. So Vanvasi Kalyanashram, a biggest NGO working in the world for the welfare of tribal people. Is it sufficient?
Yeah, thank you very much. So we begin now. And I think we will welcome. Firstly, we'll welcome our guest speaker from Indonesia, and I know it is very appears that very cold. Cold there. I can understand. So welcome our guest speaker. I will firstly tell you his name. He has many titles to his name. His name is Dharma Dhurandhar Prabhu Raja Dharma Yasa. Well, that's a big title of any Hindu priest or a scholarly person. He is from Bali, originally from Bali, a Hindu from Bali. Now, today's topic is understanding Vedic culture and Hindu Dharma in Indonesia. That's a very important topic as far as we are concerned. And I will give you a little bit more about him. But his introduction is so long that if I start narrating his biodata, then I'm going to spend all my time on that. So I will give a brief introduction. So he's born and brought up in Bali, Indonesia. His education in India was, he took his education in India also. And he has done from his graduation from Kendriya Hindu Sansthan, New Delhi. He has also done his graduation from Hansraj College of Delhi University. He has done BA Sanskrit honors, and that's really wonderful to see a Bali Indonesian coming to India, learning Sanskrit and graduating from here. And then he did his post-graduation on cultural development from the Indonesian University, and then further research on and PhD from the Indonesian University Denpasar, Bali. Now, the most important aspect, he has many publications. He has published 30 books. I will narrate some of them. Ahimsa, Dharma, Dhan, Vegetarian, and Kali, Sanatarna, Upanishad. So you can imagine that the very name, but most important of all this, 30 publications to his credit. But the most important part is that he has translated Gita into Indonesian local dialect, the local language of Indonesia, which is called Bhasha. So the Gita has been translated, and that is his mission. His total mission in life is to propagate Gita in Indonesia and around. He travels, very frequent traveler. When I contact him first time, he was traveling in Europe, and I was very lucky to find him and get his blessings. And he has awards, many awards to his credit. More than 9 international awards to his credit. So he was awarded by he got an award of Vishwa Hindu Sanman by Government of India too, and Hindu Shri World Hindu Federation, Hindu Gaurav by Vishwa Hindu Parishad. So there are many awards. I cannot narrate all of them because of the time constraint, but he is a very knowledgeable person. He is very honored by most of the organizations in India and abroad. It's our privilege to have him today, to listen to him. And I would now request him to please go ahead with your topic. Prabhuji, thank you very much. Please go ahead.
First of all, I respect all of you. Om Swastiastu. Om Swastiastu. Om Swastiastu. It's an honor for me to be here with all of you. And the topic, I just a minute, you made me co-host already so that I can share my presentation.
Please press the green button at the middle bottom. It is written share screen.
Yeah. You made me as the co-host already, yeah?
Yes. You are already a co-host. You can just press share green. There is a green button at the bottom, middle bottom.
Yeah, thank you. First, let me share this short video.
Dari beliau berpesan hanya 2. Berapa bapak-bapak ibu-ibu? Only 2. Mantap sekali. Biasa saja buat channel 2 yang wacana leaders. Lakukanlah kebaikan pidana, jangan melakukan ke.
We were gathering here in the very beautiful temple, Tanah Lot Temple. It's a Shaiva temple, and your Prime Minister, Bharat Prime Minister, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, visited this temple. So we were gathering here to read together Bhagavad Gita, whole chapter, first chapter till finish 18th chapter. And this was recorded as the first biggest gathering reading Bhagavad Gita. It's more than 8,000 people gathering. We will read together Bhagavad Gita here. So the topic is understanding Vedic culture and Hindu Dharma in Indonesia. What in the ancient times, we all aware about this, we knew this, that Bharata was so big, not just India today. The map was so big, including Afghanistan, Iran country, and Asian countries. So it's so big. It was 8 Mahadvip and 8 Upamahadvip meet together. That was Bharata Varsha. So with a big, with a great culture, and 2 of the Upamahadvip was in Indonesia. That was Sumatra and Java. So the Vedic teaching and Vedic tradition also there in Indonesia in ancient times, and the relationship between India and Indonesia was from unknown time. At least we will see together later. It's we got some information from Ramayana, but the Vedic mantras, Vedic mantras, I mean that from Chaturveda, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharvaveda. Maybe were there, but what we have now in the scriptures, ancient scriptures in the palm leaf, lontar, we call it lontar. Palm leaf scriptures in ancient language and script. So we didn't find this Chaturveda, but we found only what it's called Chaturveda Shira. Shira means head, only the head, only the first mantras of every Veda of Chaturveda. It's from Rigveda, we have this Rigveda Shira. Om Agnimile Purohitam Yagyasa Devam Ritwijam, that one. And every first mantra of the Chaturveda, that only we found. But we are rich with the many ancient scriptures. It's, including the tantras, yoga tantras, and we are rich with the Mahabharata and Ramayana in ancient language, which old Javanese language, which is called Kawi Bhasa, Kawi language. So our relationship, our togetherness in between India and Indonesia was from unknown times. And now, what is Indonesia now? But it is not difficult to understand Indonesia now, because we have everything in the internet. We can understand it. So just in short, this is the map of Indonesia. Very rich. It's very big and number 4 or 5 most populous country in the world. So we have more than 17,500 islands. So very big country and also very rich country. The name itself, Indonesia, it's Hindu, Hindustan. So it's there already as maybe we can call it a younger brother of Bharata, of Hindustan, Hindu Asia, Hindustan. What is interesting here with Indonesia is we have the Indonesia's ideology, the principle of the Indonesia. We have Pancasila, we have down here you can see the Garuda holding the Bhinneka Tunggal Ika motto. So what is Pancasila? It's a Pancasila is the base of principle of Indonesia. We have 5 that's Silas. Silas it's mean the base, the foundation. Just want to underline the technical word for this. It's Pancasila. We will not go into the detail of this Pancasila. Why Garuda? Why the Garuda facing right side? Why the numbers of the wings, etc., etc. They have typical number, but the word Pancasila is also interesting. It's a Sanskrit word, and also Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. The motto is Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. It's a national motto, which means unity in diversity. It's taken from, there was a famous kavya and great kavya, great literature. It's called Kakawin Sutasoma. This Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, it's down here, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. The motto is taken from the first, taken from the Sutasoma Kakawin. That's in the last line. Ruaneka Dhatuin was Buddha Vishwa. Ruaneka Dhatuin was Buddha Vishwa. There are 2 dhatus, 2 tattva that's called Buddha and Vishwa, Shiva. It's about the togetherness of different religion and different name of the tattva, God. Then finally, in the 4th line, they said, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika Tanhana Dharma Mangra. Bhinna Ika. Different that. Tunggal Ika, but it's one. So unity in diversity taken from this kavya. It's Buddhist career. In this map, you can see India map and Indonesia. It's not far. It's very close. And the bilateral relationship between Indonesia and India are not about yesterday's time, but the relationship which is unknown even by history. So it's very ancient togetherness between India and Indonesia. We can find that in Ramayana of Valmiki. In this Kanda, when Sugriva sent his troops, his dutas, Wanara dutas, sending his 100,000 Wanara dutas to all directions, to the north, to the south, to the west, to the eastern side direction, and to the south direction. Before sending the Wanara dutas to the southern direction, Sugriva gave the direction, Yatna Vantu Java Dvipam. Yatna Vantu Java Dvipam. You go to the Java Dvipa. सप्त राज्यों पे सुविधम, जो 7 राज्यों में बनता हुआ है. It's you strive hard in the island of Java, go to Java, which will be splendorous with 7 kingdoms, like that, even in the golden and silver, Swarna, Rupiakam Dvipam, and Java. Then Sugriva told the Wanara dutas that you go there to Java. It's divided into the 7 kingdoms. There were 7 kingdoms there in Java. Kingdoms means that Java already rich by culture and it's already not the like uncultured island. It's already perfect island, and they have 7 kingdom. When you have a kingdom that mostly Vedic kingdoms, they are so arranged in the perfect way that a king should be like this, and they have Navaratnas, the advisors, 9 advisors, the expert. So it's maintained in a good way. So you go to Java Dvipa, which you can find 7 kingdoms there, and the life of people there is like this, and then you go to eastern side till Sugriva said, then after this, I don't know. Beyond that, I don't know. It was already there, the togetherness, I can say. It's not a relationship anymore between India and Indonesia. It's already togetherness. And when we go to Indonesia this time, we can find lots of the remnants of that togetherness. And nowadays it's coming up from the ground. It's many temples, ancient temples, which we call Chandi. Chandi. Many statues, mostly Ganesha and Shivalinga. We can say that every day it's coming out from the ground. So it was so rich. And we have many kingdoms, Hindu kingdoms also, Buddhist kingdoms, like we have Kutai, Mataram kingdom, Sriwijaya, Singasari, Kadiri, and Majapahit. It's the most famous kingdom. It's Majapahit kingdom and also Sriwijaya kingdom. At the time of Sriwijaya kingdom, they supported the Nalanda project. The king, Palaputra Deva king, king of Sriwijaya, supported the Nalanda project. They sent money for that to start Nalanda kingdom. And then Majapahit kingdom. It's both kingdom was so big. Majapahit kingdom, I think that time, including Thailand, part of Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, was a part of Majapahit kingdom. It was so big kingdom. And that time, the Hindu and Buddha tradition is spreading very well there in Java. It's, in the map, you can see the Sumatra Island, where with the Sriwijaya kingdom was there. And was so famous. Still, many Buddhist monks came from China even to learn Buddhism. It was the famous center for Buddhism that time. And then Borobudur Temple. This is the biggest Buddhist temple in the world. It's located in the central Java. So it's I think there's in the time of King Samaratunga Deva, it was built in the perfect way, like the down portion, it's the worldly construction. It's called Kama Dhatu. It's the word of the desire, and then Rupa Dhatu, upper side, and the topmost is Arupa Dhatu. It's a very big temple. I think it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. And then you have another Chandi Kalasan. It's a Buddhist temple also. Then Prambanan Temple. In this Shaiva temple, it's a famous Shaiva temple, but in here we have 3 main deities here. Trimurti sab yahan pujit hai. They worship Trimurti here, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And in front of every temple, in front of Shiva temple, they have a small temple for Nandi. In front of Vishnu temple, they have a small temple for the Vahan, for the carrier of Vishnu, that is Garuda. And in front of Brahma temple, there is another small temple. It's for the carrier of the Vahan of the Brahma. It's a Hangsa. It's a very big temple. And in this temple, you can find the story of Ramayana there. It's Ramayana Pura Ankite, Suru se Ravana Antatak, till the death of Ravana, from the beginning. The beginning is the Vishnu lying down on the Sesanaga. And that was the starting point of the story, that Vishnu preparing to come down to the world has the Rama Avatara to come to Ayodhya as a Rama, and then it starts from the beginning of the life of Rama till the end of the life of Ravana. It's a very, very interesting temple. It's through this Borobudur, even only through this Borobudur and Prambanan temple, we can understand how rich was that time, the Indonesian culture, art, and till now, I think this Prambanan still bringing the message of the greatness of the Vedic Hindu tradition, culture, that every full moon, every Purnima, they organize Ram Lila here. It's every day they show this Ram Lila, but the big one, it's every full moon. They make a big show. It's 200 artists take part in this Ram Lila. 200 artists. And maybe even a single of these artists, non-Hindus, from the Hindu. They keep this Ramayana as their blood, their tradition, part of the Indonesian art and culture. It's an interesting place to visit. And then many kingdoms. But another very, very interesting and very important things to be noted here is the richness of our ancient scriptures. The richness of our ancient scriptures, Indonesian scriptures, in the palm leaf scriptures, in the old script and in the old Javanese language, which is called Kawi Bhasa. ये सब कावी भाषा में लिखा हुआ है. It's written in a Kawi language, and Kawi language is so rich with Sanskrit, small Sanskrit grammar, but very rich with the vocabulary of the Sanskrit. I think it's 70% we can find Sanskrit words in the Kawi Bahasa in this old Javanese language. That's many scriptures written in many subjects. But what the most interesting for many scholars from, Western scholars mostly, and some Indian scholars also, that is about the old Javanese literature that which mostly taken from the Ramayana and Mahabharata. We have a very famous and super excellent work of Ramayana Kavya. It's not only ordinary literature, but it's a very good literature and advanced literature. It's coming to the level of Kavya. Kavya is not ordinary literature. So this Ramayana, old Javanese Ramayana Kakawin, we called it. It's a Kavya. And even they use chanda. What many Indian scholars not using anymore. But in the old Javanese Ramayana, the Kavi used that chanda also. And also very rich with the alankar of the Kavya, like a cut, look like this, nice, so beautiful. It's already translated into English language, and also you can find it in Hindi also. One professor, it's from JNU, Delhi, Professor Paliwal, he translated that into Hindi, and also in front of me, a friend of me, Professor Rajendra Mrisa, translated this Ramayana Kakawin into Hindi also. And in some part, when he found some difficulties to understand, we discussed together. Because many explanation of the translation is need the touch of the local tradition. So that was a good translation, and it's already published in India. So till now in Hindi language, as I knew, it's 2 translations are there. And beside this, so many kavyas, it's already published in mostly Dutch scholars. They are doing this very well. They are super scholar. Even they can speak a higher language of the Bali or Java language. They are very sincere with their research. And maybe it's the important time for the creation of the old Javanese literature was the time of one king in Java. He was Dharma Wangsa Teguh Ananta Wickramatunggadewa. It's a very famous king and very fond of the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Very fond of especially the Mahabharata. So he ordered his Pandit scholars in his kingdom to prepare the Ashtadasha Parva to Mahabharata into the Java language that time, old Javanese language. It's the project. We can say this was the project to make the Mahabharata in Sanskrit into old Javanese language. The project is called Mangjawakana Vyasa Mata. Mangjawakana means to make into Javanese language. Vyasa Mata, the teachings of Vyasa. So, but till now we found only 9 parvas of 18 parvas. We found only 9. And also one part of this Vedic teaching is the Bhishma Parva. So here you can read his name. Sri Maharaja Ishana Dharmavangsa Teguh Ananta Wickramatunggadeva. And it's also said here the time they need to complete the work was Lawas Nira Magawi Shastra. The time they do this translation, Telung Tahun, 3 years. It was completed in 3 years. And the project is called, you can see here, Mangjawakana Vyasa Mata. Mangjawakana, to make into old Javanese language that time. Vyasa Mata, the teaching of Maharishi Vyasa. And it's written in old Javanese language. And one of this is the Bhishma Parva. It's in the original Bhishma Parva or other Ashtadasha Parva. The original is in the Sanskrit language in the form of poetry. Padya ke roop mein. It's in the form of Padya. But in Indonesia, before it's the Gadya and Padya mixed. That's why it is called Parva. Parva means that not in the Parva in Indonesian term, it means not Padya, it's Gadya. There we can find also Bhagavad Gita. And I just found in India, they already print this old Javanese Bhagavad Gita. In Hindi, I found that. It's not complete slokas, 700 slokas, but around 70, 80 slokas. Some, even the old Javanese Bhishma Parva, keeping only 2 lines of 1 slokas. 1 sloka is 4 lines of 1 slokas. Sometimes they keep only 2 lines and even 1 line. So it's an interesting Shastra. Maybe Sri Surendraji, you can organize a project to bring this old Javanese Mahabharata, Astadasya Parva, back to Indian language. Just for the small introduction, this Mahabharata is started with not with Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, as we have Bhagavad Gita in India. It's started with Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsava, Mamaka Pandavascheva, Kimakurvate Sanjaya. But in here, in old Javanese Bhagavad Gita, it started with this sloka, Distve Swajanam Krishna, Yuyutsam Samupasthitam, Sidanti Mama Gatrani, Mukham Cha Parishusyati. So it started with this sloka. And some, because they copy this scripture in the form of palm leaf, they copy it again, copy it again, copy it again. On the way of this traveling, of copies traveling, some changing there also, because of not everybody who copied this literature, they understood Sanskrit or ancient old Javanese language. They just understand how to write into the palm leaf. So some differences we can find there, or some we can say corrupt some even there. Like in here, Pranamah Sarva Vedeshu. That is the original in the Sanskrit Bhagavad Gita. Pranamah Sarva Vedeshu. But in old Javanese language, we found this Pranamah Sarva Deveshu. So the difference is Vedeshu and Deveshu. Pranamah Sarva Deveshu. So the translation is like this: Kuna ring Sarva Deva, and in the between of the all devas, Muang mantra and the mantras, Omkara Pinakawa Ningulun, I am the Om, I am Omkara, I am the Pranava. So, but in the Sanskrit, original Sanskrit, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu in the place of Sarva Deveshu. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu in all Vedas, I am the Omkara. But in this old Javanese Bhagavad Gita, it says we find Pranava Sarva with Deveshu. It's in among the Devas. I am the Omkara. So like this, some small differences we can find in our old Javanese scriptures. Just introducing you that after many years of gap, so many people, they miss the reading of the Holy Scriptures, especially about Bhagavad Gita. So I, with together with our friends, we meet together and we started printing, translating Bhagavad Gita, printing it and distributing it into, even I went to the isolate place in Java Island to the mountain areas, to the jungle areas where people will not go there, difficult to go there. So I went there and distributed the Bhagavad Gita free and teach them how to read, and also prepare some malas for chanting mantras. And was the response we got from the people was so good. In just 7 years, we had printed this in 73 times. So in 7 years, we already reached 73 edition of the Bhagavad Gita. And this one just 2 months ago, we printed the big size of Bhagavad Gita. We call it Bhagavad Gita Jumbo Bhagavad Gita, jumbo size Bhagavad Gita. It's very good with a good cover, with a box, good box. And also we keep inside many Mahatmya of the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe we can say this is the rare collection, rare Bhagavad Gita, because we keep many Mahatmyas of Bhagavad Gita in this jumbo size of Bhagavad Gita. Now we go to Bali. This is Bali Island. It's a small island with mostly now the population is close to the 5 million. The capital is Denpasar. Before the capital was Buleleng. You can see in north side. It's a city, Buleleng. It's a city, Singaraja there. So the capital was there, but now capital is in the south, is Denpasar. And the temple here, maybe you will surprised to see, not like in mostly Mandir we see in India. It's very different from the many temples of India, and little bit close to Nepal, but I think not that kind. It's a more complicated structure of the temples, which we use a lot of. It's a strict rule and regulation to build a temple, to start a temple, using like feng shui, what do you call in India? It's we call this in Indonesia. It's
Vastu.
Oh, Vastu, like Vastu Sastra. We have this Koshala Koshali, we call it. It's very typical and very strict. You cannot build temple without following this rule and regulation, where the area of the temple should be, and before that we need to worship the earth, the Prithvi first, and then we need to install, to energize the Prithvi by keeping the Pancha Dhatu, we call it, 5 dhatus there, and many rule and regulation. And what kind of temple? It's a very typical, very strict rule and regulation. And you can see in here that our tradition is we pray together. It's not like in India, you have darshan only 1 second, then you go. And we meet together, we sit together, The priest will lead us for the prayer with mantra, and mostly nowadays we have the mantras. So we chant together. It's called Panchasambha. First, we will worship the sun god, and then other gods, and then God himself, the one God. Like this, we have the prayer, and also we have 6 verses mantras for 3 sandhya, for doing our sandhya 3 times. We call it 3 sandhya. That kind of building, like some 3 stories, 5 stories, 7 stories, 9 stories, and 11 stories, like this, we call it Meru. So this is the biggest temple in Bali. We call it Besakeh Temple. It's very big temple. And the offering also, it's typical. A lot of rule and regulation, and to make an offering. And we use the tal patra, or coconut leaf, to make this kind of offering. We offer all kind of flowers, and in some prayers we need typical color of flowers, how many color of flowers, and where to put in the north, what colors should be in the west, like this typical rule and regulation. And you can see this, it's how many kilos that the mother bringing on her head, bringing to the temple for offering. It's a very interesting. And in Bali, every village, we have 3 main temples, 3 main big temples. So in every village, we have many temples. Temples for Mother Lakshmi in the every big market. It must, the temple of Mother Lakshmi there. It's a must. Without the temple of Mother Lakshmi, you cannot start a market in Bali. And also a temple in the rice field. Without this temple, you cannot do your farming there. So, many kind of temple, but 3 main temples are for the Trimurti. One temple is called Pura Pusha Mandir, or temple in Bali. We call it Pura, like Pura. So Pura Pusha is the temple for Sri Vishnu. And this temple you cannot build in any place you want, but it's the typical place, should be always there. It's near the rice field. So that is for Vishnu. And then for Brahma, it's the temple of Brahma will be always near the market, in the center of the village. And in the center of the village, the King Palace will be there, and the south of King Palace will be a main market, big market. And just near that King Palace and market, you will see Brahma temple. So in India, we worship Brahma only in one place, that is Pushkar. I heard also one in Orissa. So in Bali, we worship Brahma in every village. So it's a Brahma temple. And then we have a Shiva temple. And Shiva temple also you can build only in that area, that is near the Smasan, near the cremation ground. You cannot build Brahma temple or Vishnu temple near the Smasan, but that's temple there should be the temple of Shiva. And mostly the temple of Shiva, the more famous is Shiva Shakti, Durga. So it's that's called Pura Dalam. Pura Dalam means temple to worship Shiva, but mostly when we say Pura Dalam, it's for Devi Durga, for the Shakti of Shiva. So like this, in every village you can find this Trimurti temple. And also another big temple you can find in Bali. And when you visit to Bali, you should visit this all temple. It's 9 temple for 9 direction. It's a very famous temple, and one of this even somebody told me that from the space they saw a light in the earth. So finally they found that the light came from Bali, and in Bali it's from one of that 9 main temple in Bali. So, and also in every temple, including the flags, they will be ornamented with the Devi Devata's picture, like Hanuman flag, Garuda flag, and many others. And also the wall will be Jesse Prambanan Mandir, as we found in Prambanan Temple. It's the wall is full of the Ramayana stories. Like this in Bali, you can also find in many temples with Ramayana, Mahabharata is there. And touching the life of Balinese, that every road's name, lane's name, it will be the name of the characters from Ramayana Mahabharata, like Rama Road, Lakshmana Road. My house in Bali, it's located at the lane of my place. It's called Arjuna Lane. And also the art shop name, it will be like this art shop restaurant. They will name it Rama restaurant, Sita restaurant, like this Sri restaurant. In Bali, we can find this all Ramayana, Mahabharata. It's like the blood of Balinese. And all artworks will be mostly, they will make Ramayana and Mahabharata stories. It's very rich, the culture there in Bali, and also in western side of another island. It's eastern side of Bali, another island. It's called Lombok. In the west Lombok also, we can find the richness of the Hindu's tradition and culture. In Java, in the capital, we miss this. In the capital, there is a big statue of Krishna and Arjuna, which is called Arjuna Wijaya. It's started by the president of Indonesia that time, Suharto, President Suharto. It's with all horses. It's in the center of the capital of Indonesia. You can see here that the cost is so big money they spend for this. It cost that time 4 billion rupiah, and the length is 23 meters. The height is 5 meters, and the weight of this is 3,600 tons. So again, place you need to visit when you come to Indonesia. And here this in the Prambanan temple you can find, and then puppet show. Also puppet show in Java, Bali, and other islands. They will choose the topic that will be always Ramayana, taken from Ramayana and Mahabharata. And then all kind of dance also will be the touch from the Ramayana, Mahabharata, and stories from Puranas, the teaching from Puranas and Itihasas. So this you need to see Kecak dance, Ramayana Kecak dance. The music will be only the voice from hundreds artists. This is Hanuman, Sita, and Trijata. It's a Ravana, and it's a Lanka Dahan when Hanuman burned Lanka. It's very interesting dance. I can say that this presentation is the invitation for all of you to visit Indonesia. And this is the most famous Ramayana Kecak dance in South Bali. Down there is a sea, and there you can see the one of the 9 temples. You can see on the top of the rock. It's very beautiful place. So I think I need to conclude my presentation. It's coming back again that India and Indonesia in ancient time is just one, and we can say not the relationship, it is togetherness. It's togetherness between India and Indonesia. It's already there since the unknown time, and even the history, unknown history time. Sri Surendraji, thank you very much. I think I conclude this.
Oh, you can continue if you so wish to.
Oh, yeah. Yes, so many things we can introduce about Bali to all of you, and Java. It's very rich. Maybe this you will feel happy to understand that in Bali we recite Ramayana every day. The recitation of Ramayana is every day in many places. Mostly it's like a tradition or a must for the village to organize this. The way we recite Ramayana is that first we do offering. We will do offering with some flowers. We call it chanang, made from the coconut leaves. We make in that typical ways, and we fill with all kind colorful flowers and fragrance. And then we pray together. After the prayer only, we can start the recitation of Ramayana. So one will read, will sing the Ramayana, and the other will translate it into public language, because it's written in the old Javanese language. Not everybody will understand that. So one will translate this in a very beautiful way. Dramatically, they will translate that into the public. So it's a very nice. Balinese are made of this. Maybe I can just sing one first from Ramayana Kekawin. So one will sing, and also the chanda. This chanda used in Ramayana, in the beginning of Ramayana, they use the chanda. It's the name of chanda is Sroncha. So Sroncha chanda, you cannot find in India, in the birthplace of chandas, birthplace of Chanda Shastra. But in Bali, we have this. We start the Ramayana Kakawin with chanda. It's called Sroncha chanda, Sroncha. So one will sing, will read it will sing this, and the other one sitting mostly the right side will translate it. So the example is this from the beginning of Ramayana. Okay, maybe I need to introduce to all of you also that this Ramayana Kakawin is not taken from Valmiki Ramayana. I did the research. I tried to find out the source of this Indonesian old Javanese Ramayana. But finally, I found Bhatikavya Ramayana, written by Bhatikavya Ramayana. And perfectly I saw, like the first shloka of Bhatikavya is Abun Ripu. It started with this, Abun Ripu. There was a king. So in the Ramayana, old Javanese Ramayana, I found this starting shlokas of the old Javanese Ramayana is this. Anasiratu Debye Rengan. So they will sing one line like this, then the other will translate in Balinese or Indonesian language, mostly Balinese language, in a very interesting and beautiful ways. They will explain into the public. It's mean that Hanasiratu, there was a king, Debya Rengan, Ati Uttam, king. So Bhattikavya's Ramayana is started with this Abun Ripu. There was a king. Bali Indonesian Old Javanese Ramayana also started with this. Hana Sira Ratu. There was a king. I think Sri Surendraji, that is enough for now. Matur Sukshma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dharmayasa ji, we are so grateful to you. We'll have one or two questions, not more than that. So,
Please.
yeah, so we have Murari Gupta ji. Please go ahead, Murari ji, you ask your question.
Sir, very thank you, Dharam Saya, for this knowledge for us. My question is that in Indonesia, in Bali, there is any Sanskrit recitation in Ramayana? Any connection with Sanskrit?
Yes, that was in Sanskrit. Bhattikavya's Ramayana was in Sanskrit and translated into Indonesian, I mean, Old Javanese language into Ramayana Kakawin. That's in Old Javanese language. And maybe you came a little bit late, yeah? So before I was explaining that Old Javanese language, which is called Kawi Bhasa, mostly more than 70% are Sanskrit words. So you can say, yes, Sanskrit. And all our names in Bali is Sanskrit name. Like my name, Dharmayasa, my brother's name, Yoga, and other brothers mean Sutapa. So everything is Sanskrit in Bali. And when we drink, we say, bring me toya, please. Toya, it's a Sanskrit word. Give me puspa, please. Or kusuma, puspa, it's Bali, Sanskrit. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Question from Veena ji. Please go ahead, Shetty Veena ji. Please ask your question.
Thank you, Dharmasya ji. It was wonderful. I just, because you said Bhatti Kavya, it sounds like it means the poem, Kavya is poem. So, the poem of Bhatti, that's what it sounds like. And all I can say is thank you very much. And one day I'll come to Bali and hopefully I'll meet you. That's all. It was absolutely fabulous listening to you.
Okay, thank you very much. There's one more question from Vivek Gargi. Vivek Gargi, please go ahead. Vivek ji, ask your question. Unmute and ask your question. Please, Vivek ji, unmute and please ask your question. I think some problem with your internet. Vivek ji, can you listen to me? Please unmute first. You have raised your hand, but unmute. Please unmute. Oh, I think, okay, so let's go to the next one. Shalima ji is from Trinidad. Please go ahead, Shalima ji. Ask your question.
Thank you. Pranam. It was a wonderful presentation. I was really enlightened. And can you help me understand something, please? You said that at the Prambanan Temple, the story starts from the east entrance. Visitors turn left and they move around the temple in a clockwise direction. So can you please say whether the east is important in any of the other temples as well? Or can you explain why the entrance is to the east? Thank you.
Yeah. Purva, we call it Purva. In Indonesia, Purva, the east direction, is that kind of direction. As we know in our tradition, that starting point of the energy. So the east side, it's that kind of spiritual, meaningful direction. That's why everything we started from the east, including when we do parikrama, we call it Murva Dakshina. We call it Murva Dakshina. It's started from the east and then that's clockwise. So Purva is so powerful place, direction. And also when we sleep, we keep our head to the east side mostly. And the temple also, when we build the temple, should be in the northeast side or east side, east direction. So eastern side is very important direction for Hindus in Indonesia. And Sri Vinaji, that you are right, that Bhatti Kavi, it's that poet, Bhatti Kavi, that his Bhatti Kavya has taken, I think it's only some part in front of Bhatti Kavya, taken as the starting point for Indonesian Kakawin, Ramayana Kakawin. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, and we are very, very grateful to you for enlightening everybody. I was very fortunate enough to visit 4 islands in Indonesia when I was sailing around the world. So I visited Kupang, I visited Bali and Jakarta and Waingapu. The 4 islands I visited.
Nice,
I was fortunate enough to visit Bali and see that 900 years old Vishnu temple and also the live volcano and the beautiful culture the Hindus have in Bali. I'm very grateful to you for accepting our invitation and enlightening everybody. Thank you very much, and we'll request you to come once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Pranam, pranam, pranam.